Welcome back, everybody. Well, Harry S. Truman called it this great white jail. Michelle Obama says it's really a nice prison. They're both talking about the White House. So what goes on behind that impressive facade? There's a new book out that gives us an inside look based on interviews with those who have worked for first families over the decades. The Residence, Inside the Private World of the White House, details the joy, the drama, and the extraordinary, along with the ordinary, behind the walls of the White House. Kate Anderson Brower is the author of The Residence, and she joins us now. This is a fascinating, amazing book. I really loved it because you really are chronicling history with people who are actually living testaments to history because of who they have served over the years. And we're talking about the staff that serves the White House, the first families.
I interviewed more than 100 people for the book, and it took me 2 years to report it out. And these people, they take this unofficial, oath of discretion. They do not ever talk out of school. What happens in the White House stays in the White House. And they take it very seriously. And that loyalty is really returned. I mean, Laura Bush went to one of the Butler's funerals last year and gave his eulogy. So they really are a family, especially the Bushes and these staffers who love them so much.
You said that many of the people that you wanted to speak with were very reticent at first about speaking with you because they did not want to seem as though they were being disloyal to the first families that they served.
It took them a long time to really trust me, and also even when they told me negative stories, they painted them in a slightly, positive light. Some of the stories they told about Hillary Clinton and how difficult it was during the Lewinsky scandal, they said, they could understand the stress. When storeroom manager told me, everyone was staring at her and she could feel that they were staring at her, and of course she was quick to snap.
These people have a window on history. And I mean, you detailed stories that go all the way back to the Kennedys, the Johnsons. Very poignant story, for example, of the doorman for Mrs. Kennedy, who waited up all night to see her on that fateful day when her husband was shot. And she returned to the White House with her bloodstained suit, but he wanted to make sure that he was just there for her.
It's incredible. I mean, this doorman, Preston Bruce, he slept in the third floor in a small bedroom, would not lay down, took off his jacket, would not take off his suit, stayed there for 4 days after the assassination, wouldn't go home to his wife because he wanted to be there for her. And actually, Jackie Kennedy came back from Dallas and looked at him and said, "You waited until we came, thank you." And he said, "You knew I'd be here, Mrs. Kennedy." So they grew very close. Jackie Kennedy gave him the tie that JFK wore on the flight to Dallas, and he even walked in his funeral, went to his funeral, was standing there next to Charles de Gaulle and these huge world leaders. He never even graduated from high school himself.
But he was there as a loyal member of the family. Also lighter moments, of course. We see images, photographs of people like Nixon bowling with the staff members there, and I think we have some of the images up on the screen there if we can put them up. You see the president, at ease and in moments where we wouldn't expect to see him.
Yeah, I love that story because it was tough for the staff to watch President Nixon in particular. They said it was even harder than JFK's assassination because he was just decaying day by day and there was nothing they could do to help him. But that story, he was bowling with a kitchen worker. He wandered into the kitchen late at night and said, "You want to bowl?" And the two of them bowled until 2 a.m. And this kitchen worker said, "My wife is never going to believe that I was out bowling with you this late." And so the president took him into the Oval Office, wrote a note explaining to his wife that they were out. And then one of the other staffers said that there might have been a bottle of scotch involved that night. So, I mean, they had fun together and they loved these people. Tricia Nixon told me that these people knew her father and they loved him and they didn't care about the politics that were surrounding him leaving the White House.
And that's right. I mean, that's really an intimate, they share so much of their lives that they become part of the family in a way that we can never understand because there's that loyalty factor. And really quickly, many of the people that you tried to interview have already passed.
Yeah, it's very sad. In the last 2 years, 6 of them have passed away. And their children, I just got a great letter from one of the Butler's children saying, "Thank you for honoring my father."
Great book. Thanks for joining us today.